respected principal, vice principal, teachers, parents, and the awesome class of 2019. I am honored and privileged to stand before you today representing my class as valedictorian. I'm sure that I speak for the entire graduating class when I say that our experience at KIS has been nothing short of an adventure. I joined KIS in grade 8 after a fortuitous meeting with Principal Corey, who instantly inspired me and whose leadership and unwavering encouragement have always meant the world to me. Thank you, Mr. Corey. So, I vividly recall the day, soon after I joined Cody, that you surprised me. I was comfortably seated, like all of you are, in the audience, when during opening assembly, Mr. Corey said, "KIS is a school that the world needs." I sat up in my chair, baffled. A school that the world needs? How can this be? Surely, the world would get along just fine, with or without a few hundred people perched atop the Palani Hills. I was bewildered, and it's taken me 5 years to figure it out. After so much deep emotion expressed over the past few days, I'd like to lighten things up a little and look back on our time at this school with a warm smile and some sense of humor. I'm sure that all of my classmates feel nostalgic on our last school day. I lucidly remember my first night in residential school. I lay awake in bed, pondering what tomorrow would bring, staring at the ceiling of Sherwood Dorm, when suddenly, two bright, beady eyes stared back at me. The rats of Sherwood soon brought more amusement than fear. My roommate would use a broomstick to knock them out of our room with a stroke that would put an IPL batsman to shame. Pranay, I'm sure you'll rock Bollywood, but do consider a sporting career hitting sixes for the Mumbai Indians. What astonished us most was the response to the Sherwood Rats. The immediate transformation of our dorm basement into a garbage collection and recycling center, effectively sending out a dinner invitation to every rat in the district of Dindigal. That was my first encounter with a strange phenomenon that I have come to know as Cody's upside-down logic. Living in Sherwood was itself another example of this incredible phenomenon. In grade 8, we lived on main campus and studied on Ganga campus. We survived the endless bus rides, believing that next year would be better. But of course, Cody's upside-down logic dictated otherwise. Come 9th grade, when classes moved to main campus, we were shipped off to Ganga campus and back on the endless bus rides. Over the past 5 years, I've deeply pondered this phenomenon. How things so apparently topsy-turvy and obviously upside down seem perfectly fine and logical to us at Cody. In grade 11, biology class introduced us to human physiology, and I began to wonder if Cody's upside-down logic was a result of the altitude or a symptom of the thin air affecting our brains. Among classmates researching revolutionary topics, such as a cure for cancer from Cody's soil, I contemplated selecting this as the subject for my biology IE, but abandoned it because I knew Mr. Prem would say, "My dear child, don't choose such a topic or your research will be dead and gone. Cody's upside-down logic is seen at the best of times and at the worst of times. Earlier this year, we literally found ourselves in the eye of a storm. There wasn't a person in Cody who didn't personally face the devastating wrath of Cyclone Gaja. Most communities would logically look inward to first tend to their own losses. But Cody's upside-down logic was at its finest. Every member of our school community willingly lent a hand, pulling together to help those in need. And last August, this spirit stayed strong when our neighboring state of Kerala suffered the worst flood in a century. Cody students and staff were among the first responders, eagerly lending support and raising resources. But on an individual level, Cody's upside-down logic follows you everywhere, even into the shower. Many dorms now have solar heating replacing electric water heaters, bathing you in scalding hot water on hot sunny days and shiveringly freezing cold water on cold cloudy days. Our dining hall faces the challenge of feeding the internationally diverse KIS student body. Cody's upside-down logic has a brilliant solution. Instead of a wide variety of foods, we have a wide variety of names for the same food. Our upside-down minds and stomachs hungrily accept the cafeteria's standard red chicken as chicken tandoori, chicken rendang, palyapalam chicken, and even duck dory tongue. Slip it into a bun and you've got a chicken Dorito zinger. I'm sure that each of my classmates could endlessly amaze and amuse you with their own upside-down logic stories. Like I said, for all of us, Cody has been a truly life-changing adventure. It is traditional in graduation speeches not to recognize people by name and risk leaving anyone out. But afflicted with Cody's upside-down logic, I abandoned this convention. First, please give a big round of applause to the coolest sponsors any class could have, Mr. Ambrose and Miss Sophia. We thank Mr. Punus for his academic motivation. Personally, I am deeply grateful to my IB teachers. Mr. Kurian, who is also our IB coordinator, Miss Sophia, Mr. Prem, Miss Kirandeep, Miss Joyce, and Miss Emilia, without whose guidance I would not be standing before you as valedictorian. And Commander Ashwin, who greatly supported my financial literacy and inclusion project. I thank my dorm parents, Mr. Verghese and Miss Saji, whose delicious dorm treats made us always feel at home. Yes, home. Because I've realized that for each one of us, that's what Cody has become. A home. A place where we always felt wanted and loved. Integrated with the global community, yet cocooned and protected from the outside world's inequality, unfairness, and injustice. And that's when it hit me. Mr. Corey is absolutely right. The world does need us, because the world could truly use Cody's upside-down logic. The global community, riddled with inequality and strife, hungers for a radical new approach. Upside-down logic would counter violence with peace, replace confusion with clarity, remove suffering with compassion, and eliminate hatred with love. And so, on this graduation day, my greatest wish for our class is an unusual one. Of course, I wish every member of the class of 2019 achievement, accomplishment, success, and happiness. But even more than that, I wish that we never lose Cody's fabulous upside down logic. Thank you.